Okay, we'll look at some examples of factorizing. Factorizing is basically the opposite of expanding. So if you think back, when we expanded, it was something like 3 brackets x plus 2. And the operation that we were doing when we were expanding is we were multiplying 3 by x, and we're also multiplying 3 by 2. So since factorizing is opposite, instead of multiplication, we'll do the opposite of that, which would be division. So what that means is we basically will be looking for factors, and we'd be looking for common factors, and we'd be looking for the highest common factors. So what we're looking for in factorizing, and the word highest common factor and factorizing, they match. Okay, that gives us an indication what we'll be doing for, what we'll be doing for this. Now, if we have a look at 12 plus 20b, the first thing we do is we look at our two terms. Our first term is 12, and our second term is 20b. First term has got only a constant, which is like a number, and the second term has got a constant and a variable or pronumeral. Because both of them don't have the same pronumeral, we don't have to worry about the pronumeral. But we do need to look at is first are the two terms or the two numbers. Now let's have a look at 12 and 20 and think to ourselves that what is the highest common factor between 12 and 20? Like, what is the number that multiplied by something gives us 12, and also the same number multiplied by something gives us 20, which means we're looking for the highest common factor of 12 and 20, and that gives me 4. So to factorize, I'm going to ask myself that 4 is multiplied by something to give me 12, and also 4 is multiplied by something to give me 20. Okay, now let's think what that something is. I know that 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, we need to bring down the plus sign. Plus 4 times 5 gives me 20. But also my second term has got a b as well, so therefore 4 times 5b will give me 20b. So to put this all together in a factorized form, what we do is, because 4 is repeated, we'll put the 4 outside the brackets, and everything in red, 3 plus 5b, will go inside the brackets. And that has factorized our term, our expression 12 plus 20b. So you can rewrite that in the same color if you want to, or just leave it like that. To check, let's check. To check, we go back to expanding. So if I do, so let's check. We'll expand 4 into 3 plus 5b, and let's see if we get back to 12 plus 20b. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. 4 times 5 is positive 5 is 20, times b is b, which is the same. So therefore, that is correct. Okay, let's have a look at the second example. Again, same deal. Let's identify. So let's take our two numbers. Okay, negative 8 over here, and also 16 over there. What else? I would actually encourage us to take that as negative 16. So negative 8 and negative 16. Let's see. What's the highest common factor of negative 8 and negative 16? It's actually negative 8, or just 8. Doesn't matter. I'll take it as negative 8. Okay? So let's rewrite this. Let's rewrite that. So I have negative 8 times by a and b. Try to keep it to the same colors. Okay, and our 16 is actually negative 8 times by 2. So these numbers are common. Common numbers will go outside, which is -8 outside the brackets. And inside the brackets, we have AB, and this is just 2 or +2, so +2. So that gives us, let's check, -8 times 8b is equal to -8ab. -8 times 2 gives us -16. So therefore, that's correct as well. And let's look at the last one, or example C. So for this example, if you notice, our two terms, they do the two numbers 3 and 5, they don't have a highest common factor. But what we can do notice is both the terms have got a variable which is common. So therefore, for this one, instead of the number, the variable becomes our common factor. And that goes outside the brackets. Now I'm going to show you another method of doing the same thing. This is just another method. You could use this method for the previous two examples as well. Okay? So we ask ourselves, we need to, basically we want to go back to that. So that means x, we ask ourselves, okay, so we ask ourselves, x times something gives us 3px. So x times 3p basically will give us 3px. Then we have to ask ourselves that x times something gives us -5x. Okay? And we know that x times -5, so therefore that is -5. So if we factorize that, I'll just rewrite it in the same color. We have 3p take away 5. Now let's look at examples where we have both the terms, or even maybe 3 terms, where, so I'm just going to include one more, I'll come to that in a while, or 3 terms has got a common factor in terms of the number and also the variable. All right, so let's have a look at the first example. So in our first example, we can see first term has got a common variable of x. The moment we identify that, let's write it down. So let's write down that x is a common factor. Okay, then let's have a look at our numbers. And if we have a look at our numbers, we can see that 6 and 3 can have a highest common factor as well. So let's think to ourselves and ask ourselves the highest common factor of 6 and 3, and that is 3. So 3 will go also outside the brackets. Now remember, our numbers lead our letters, so numbers will always be before the letters. So we have 3x as our common factor. So let's ask ourselves, okay, if we rewrite this, we have 3x. 3x has been multiplied by 3 times 2 gives me 6. And 3x times 2 now becomes 6x, but we have an a left over. So we have a as the remainder, the other factor. Okay? And for 3x, 3 times x gives us 3x. So therefore, now, oh no, let me just fix that. Sorry. Okay. So for 3x times 1 gives me 3x. So 3x times 1 gives me 3x again. So basically, if I split or if I expand the two terms, okay, to find what the factors are, we can see that 3x times 2a gives me 6ax, and 3x times 1 gives me 3x again. So therefore, now if I want to factorize, all I do is I just rewrite them. So I'll just rewrite it neuter. the repeated factor is 3x. So whatever's repeated goes outside the brackets. Okay, and inside the brackets, we have whatever's remaining, 2a and plus 1. So 2a plus 1. So therefore, if we factorize that, we have 3x brackets 2a plus 1. Okay, let's look at the last example. I'm going to add on another one over here. Say I have 15 PQR. Okay, now let's look at our numbers, our three numbers. If you look at our three numbers, 30, 20, and 15. Let's think. What is the highest common factor of 30, 20, and 15? What would that be? That is equal to 5. So therefore, 5 goes outside the brackets. I'm going to use a different method. 5 goes outside the brackets. Okay, then let's look at our variables. The first term has got a P and a Q. Second term has a P. Third term has got a PQR. What's repeated is the P. Okay, so therefore that's our second factor. Is there anything else? Just check. There's nothing else that's repeated. So now what we can do is we can convert our brackets and ask ourselves or do the calculation of the way we know what numbers go in there. Okay, 30 divided by 5 gives me 6. P is already there, so we don't need to do anything with the P. But what's remaining, let's circle the remaining letters. There's nothing over there, and the remaining letters there are Q and R. So for the first one, it says 6Q. Let's look at the second term. Okay, negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. Or you bring down the minus and do 20 divided by 5, which is 4. Okay, there's no P is already there, so nothing to do with the P. Let's look at our last term. That's a takeaway. Takeaway, 15 divided by 5 is a 3. P is already there. What's remaining is Q and R. So therefore, our final answer to factorize that becomes 5P into 6Q minus 4 minus 3QR. A reminder, the process is the same. When we are factorizing, remember to always look for your highest common factor for your numbers first. Then you look at all your variables and see if there's any of the variables that are repeated, which means that they are a factor also. All right, and then we do the opposite of factorizing, expanding, which is dividing. So that's why we did 30 divided by 5, 20 divided by 5, and 15 divided by 5. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to write down how we got each one of them. So we get the 6 by doing 30 divided by 5. We get the negative 4 by doing, or the 4 by doing 20 divided by 5. And we get the 3 by 15 divided by 5. Okay.